Okay, so Kenny's Yacht Maintenance. I'm here with some subscribers of mine, and you guys are all the way in, is it Australia?
Yes, in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia.
Okay, so introduce yourself. You on the Kenny's Yacht Maintenance platform?
Yeah. So I'm Julian, and this is my wife, Kylie. And later we'll see, all the work that we've been doing on our boat called Bravo, which is a Vauquier Praetorian 35, Boardman and Pike, and we're getting her ready to sail across oceans.
Okay, I am going to disconnect the WhatsApp, right? So I'm
Right.
going to
Yeah.
disconnect you on WhatsApp. Okay. So I have you guys consent to record this consultation, correct?
Yes, you do.
Absolutely.
All right. So you guys are in Australia and you guys getting to paint your boat and you're going to be using the Alexseal paint, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So tell me about the boat that you have. What kind of boat it is?
So it's a monohull, and it was built in France back in 1983. The designers were British designers, Holman and Pye. They've made around 200 of them, but they're often in, the top 10 lists of ocean crossing boat of the 35-foot size. So she's perfect for us. We've spent the last 5 years really just getting her as seaworthy as possible, and now we're on to finishing parts, which is the fun stuff. And that's why we've chosen what we think, after all our experiments, the best paint that we could find to roll on was Alexseal.
Okay. Have you painted boats before? Any kind of paint?
Um, on our boat Bravo, we've done some painting as we've been doing maintenance, sort of in lockers and areas where it's sort of a good test area where it doesn't really matter too much what the outcome is. So we've been using other paints that we've been able to buy and source easily in Australia, which are starting with a two-pack epoxy primer and then finishing with a polyurethane. So we have worked with those types of paints before, but Julian started painting some areas of the cockpit with Alexseal and had, we sort of kept at it, and we've sort of found that it's a great paint, and he's had some good success, but we've also have struggled in some areas, and I think that's why we've sort of reached out to you for sort of some
Okay.
advice, Ken.
Mm.
What about like a hall? Have you ever painted like large areas, like a hall of?
No, no, this is the largest area, which is the transom now that we're painting. And yeah, we're having problems. We've done a couple of coats. That's top coats. We've done, I think now we're up to six with counting all the fairing and the high build and the primers. We had to fix 32 holes with fiberglass in the back of this transom. They were all redundant equipment. And so we've done a couple of coats of this larger area, and we're just getting too much orange peel is the main problem, and a couple of roller marks
Yeah,
too.
roller marks have
Yeah.
So at
something
this
that.
stage of your project, you did all your fairing. Is it primed? Is the surface primed already?
Yes, it is. Yeah, three primer coats we did, and we guide coated those.
Yes.
Yes, and
I
then
think, yeah, Julian's got a really good surface to start with. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. And presently, how many coats of top coat do you have on?
two.
Yeah, we've gone for two. As we have, we've put two on so far.
And we
So you
sanded between those coats with
yes.
400 grit by
Yeah.
hand, and until we, got every single bit of orange peel out. So it's a
Mm.
perfect surface to start
So
again.
so you're hoping that this would be your final coat, correct?
We thought maybe four codes.
I think maybe if we were better, it would should be. Yeah.
I
But
mean, three
I don't
coats
know.
is not a bad number. Four coats is
Right.
always better. I mean,
Yeah.
four is
Really?
always better than three.
Okay.
Three is a good number. So if
Right.
you get really good on three, I mean, you could stop unless you really want a fourth coat.
Okay. Okay. That's
So
And you
good to
think
know.
even though we've been sanding every coat, if we get a good coat at three, that's still enough, you think?
Enough
yes,
paint.
three
Enough.
coats is good. Four is better. I mean, five is
Right.
better than four, six is better
Right.
than five, but three is always a good number.
Okay.
Um, so at this stage, you sanded with 400 grit sandpaper, correct?
Yes.
Hmm.
You got it all washed down, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did exactly what we've learned in the Kenny Yacht
Yep.
maintenance
We followed your
videos,
instructions.
working
Yep.
smarter, not harder. And yeah, we
Yes,
washed
yes.
down with the soap and really hosed that down. And then we came back and we did the degreasing. And probably just before we start today, we'll tack rag it.
Yes. What did you use as a wipe down after a wash down?
The
What?
Alexseal final wipe down for the top coat isn't available in Australia, but I found the STS and it's basically a naphtha, a light naphtha. So we've
Uh-huh.
got light naphtha, which is the same chemical as what's in the Alexseal.
Okay, all right. If that works, that's fine. I always wash down, as you know,
Yeah,
with soap and water. And one of the reasons for washing down with soap and water is not just getting it clean. For instance, in St. Thomas, where we are, it's desalinated water in the marinas. So there's some salt in that water. So even if
right,
you wash down with soap and water, there's always some watermark or some level of salt on the surface. So wiping down with a solvent is what really removes all that stuff, whether it's
Mhm.
salt or whether it's some watermark, the
Yeah.
solvent, and it could even be denatured alcohol.
right. Really. Okay.
Okay.
That's really good to know because we've seen that when we did wash down with the soap and water and we're struggling to find the chemical, we could see that there was these little watermarks and I thought
Yes.
maybe there's chlorine and salt in
Yeah.
that.
In
So
Australia, we put chlorine in the water, so
So
yeah,
yeah, so
we
that's
have
good
to.
to know, Kenny. These are the things we're trying to wonder about. So it's great to get confirmation.
And sometimes you just never know what can cause your failure because
Mm.
some kind of substance in the water can cause
Mm.
failure in your project. So that's
Okay.
that secondary wipe down is always important. So
Hmm.
then after you wipe down a tack rag, pretty much by now you should know how to use a tack rag, correct?
Yeah, just we what we do is we just kind of we don't sort of push it on hard. We just wipe it over soft and then change the each surface and then put it in a
No
bag. Keep
pressure,
it clean.
no pressure, just
No pressure.
lightly. And
Yeah.
the tack rag is only for dust. That's all it does. If there's any
Hmm.
dust on your surface, that's what the tack rag would do, is just, that's all it's for, dust. So now
Okay.
you're ready to paint. Do you know your mixing ratio?
Yes, we 2 to 1, and
Two
then
to
we
one.
put in 2 to 1, which
Yeah,
the top coat and the converter.
yeah.
Then we mix that up, and then we put in the Alexseal bubble buster
Yes.
with the ratio, and then
Just
we mix that up and leave it for 15 minutes for the induction. But we've been using the esky, which we saw on your video, which I know it seems a small thing, but that's made everything so much easier with the little cold brick, and because we're in a dusty area, and it just keeps the paint cool, and it
Mm.
takes.
so you definitely watch Kenny's yacht maintenance video. So I'm not sure if you have such a mixing cup, but I like those mixing cup that gives you the mixture right here. And
Okay.
Yeah, we use
for
one of those.
primer, I would use the 1 to 1 for primer,
Yeah.
but you pass that stage. And for paint, there's a 2 to 1 right here.
Mhm.
And for you're doing a transom, I'm not sure what size cup you're using, but you'd know if you mix all grip, you cannot pour it back into the can. So you got to mix the right amount so you could use it. And whatever left over, you'll probably have to toss it anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you would
That's
mix
interesting.
a portion that is enough to do your surface.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
So so the 2 to 1 is right here. So as you know, with this cup, I'm not sure which cup you're using, you gotta match the number. So it's already measured. So if you go to 2, then you go to 2. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
already measured. You go to 3, then
Yeah.
you go to 3. So
Yeah.
Alexseal is 2 to 1 to 1. So that means two parts of the base
Yeah.
Yeah.
to one part
Converter.
brush converter.
Fresh converter. Yeah.
Remember, there's spray converter and there's
Mm.
Mm.
brush converter. So you
Yeah.
Yeah.
want to use the brush converter.
Yeah.
So two parts of the base, one part of the converter, and then you 1% of
Right.
the Alexia calls it the roll additive. You could refer to it as the bubble buster or the leveling agent, whatever you
Mm.
choose to call it.
Yeah.
Basically, a bubble buster, a leveling agent, but Alexia calls it the roll additive. And you can guesstimate what 1% of your volume is. So, whatever your volume is, you one thing I tell my customers, never do this and pour into the can. You don't ever do that. You always want to open that cap and pour into the cap,
Right.
and then pour into your container because it's easy to mess up your batch of paint by doing this.
Right.
So always pour into the cap, pour into your container, and then you stir it. You stir it really good because this stuff, it takes a while to dissolve. So you
How
really want,
long do you stir it? Sorry, Kenny, how long do you stir it for?
you could stir it for 30 seconds just to make
About
sure it
30? Yeah.
well mixed,
Yeah.
and then you let that sit for the 15
Okay.
minutes induction time.
When you
Uh,
do your 1% with that, with the bubble buster or, the flattening liquid, so roll additive, how do you know how much is in that cap and then you pour it in, or because often I found when you've already mixed a bit, you can't see the edge of the cup. It's very difficult to put such a small amount in accurately on,
yes,
with that.
I understand what you're saying. Um, so you're referring to after you stir it up, the
Mm.
measurement for your third part,
Yeah, that's what you're talking
which will
Yeah,
about.
be the reducer.
yeah, especially the reducer that, yeah,
Yes.
both,
Your,
the,
your,
yeah,
your third part would be your brush reducer. And
yeah.
really, sometimes you cannot see the
See.
measurement on the cup. So what I
Mm.
would do, I would probably take my brush and clean
Oh,
up the
right.
numbers, clean
Okay.
up the area,
Yeah,
or even like a small piece of rag with my glove, always paint with a glove, and you
yeah,
just clean the number area so you could see. And once you get your numbers visible,
right,
then you can pour your one part of your brush reducer.
right.
So
Yeah,
remember, it's 2 to 1 to 1.
Yeah.
So after the 15 minutes of the induction time with the roll additive, that's when you add your reducer, your brush
okay.
reducer, and
Yeah.
you're ready to paint.
Mm.
You're ready to paint. Now your surface is a small surface. If you were painting a hall, as you saw in my videos, what I would do, I would pour some paint into my tray, and the rest, the leftover, I put in a cooler
Mm.
because
Yeah.
it's a large surface. In your case, it's a small surface. So I guess you just pour into your tray and just start working. You could
Yeah.
start either end of the transform that you choose and just work your way all the way to the other end. And
Yeah.
I'm not sure what kind of rollers that you're using. Did you get the high density foam rollers?
They're still coming. They're still about to arrive. So we have got a high density in Australia, but yeah, we're not been real happy with them. They shed a lot of lint. I found if you put a cotton glove on and just, rub them through the cotton glove,
Mhm.
it does get rid of a lot of lint beforehand, but it seems to collapse a bit, the roller. But
Mm.
yeah,
So
something we're
yeah,
trying better.
that I use, they don't collapse. The only time I would have an issue with them is if they sit in my workshop for a little while and they age a little bit, then they
Really?
kind of
Okay.
collapse if they age.
Right.
If they're
Mm.
fairly new from the store, they never collapse with me.
That's good to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So once you start, and another thing is, even if you put your one part of your reducer, you the driver, you the one filling out the paint. So uh, a good way, I mean, your wife here could hold your tray for you, and
Yeah.
then you
Yes.
control the brush. Because that's how I do it with my helper. Even if it's a small surface, he holds
Mm.
the tray and I control the roller. Now you roll in and it levels out. But if you find that it's really draggy, depends to your temperature in your area, it
Mm.
might be draggy. It's always okay to add a cap at a time to
Right.
loosen up the paint, a cap of reducer.
It's
So
almost if it's a bit sticky as you're
yes,
rolling, is that what you mean?
yes,
Yeah, just put a bit more reducer in.
yes.
Okay,
It's
that's
if
good
it's
to know.
draggy, go
I think
ahead.
we've been going at 15, 20% for the
15, 20,
reducer.
20%.
So
Yeah, we
yeah,
started off with hardly any reducer, but I think we're
yeah,
probably more around 20% reducer now. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
So
So that's
it
why
sounds,
Alexseal is 2 to 1 to 1. So it's already measured.
yeah,
So
Right.
after your one part, if if it doesn't flow out or it doesn't roll out the way that you want, you don't, as I said, never do that.
no,
Mm.
Always
yeah,
pour into the cup and put, whether it's half a cup or a full cup, stir it up and just keep going.
yeah,
Righto.
yeah,
Okay, that's good to know.
Just keep
yeah.
going all the way to the end and just watch it flash. It will flash
Okay.
and
Yeah.
uh, and it works. Alexseal is a very good paint. I
Mm.
just came back just last week from another training seminar with Alexseal. They saw my last video and they really liked the video and they invited me to an advanced training class in South Carolina. And it was an eye opener. I learned so much new techniques, new products, new technique in repairing. And moving forward, Alexseal is the way to go. It's just an easier paint to repair and it's buffable.
Mm,
If you get a
mm,
run, you don't have to do the entire thing over. You could actually sand off that run and then up to 2,000, 2,500 grits and paper, and then
Right.
put the machine on it and you buff it, and it's like gel coat. It shines again. So
Right.
that is the advantage of Alexseal over all grip. It's a
mm,
Yeah.
buffable paint, it's durable, it's strong, and it works. So
That's
I
partly why we picked it too, Kenny, because we did a lot of research on that, and we know all grips are very good paint, but we understand that it has a clear almost part of it that comes to the surface as part of its final surface, and that's the difference with Alexseal, isn't it? Where it's more just all the way through pigmented,
yes,
and there's the option of making it easy to repair the
of course,
Alexseal.
it's much more easier to repair and it's buffable and it's
mm.
durable just as good as all grip. All grip is a good paint, but
Yeah.
it's a little harder. As Alexseal is more user friendly for the DIY guys like yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think where the places we're going to be taking our boat and some of the, the docks up in the northern part of the Pacific that we might have to go up against, in some storms, and it's a good option to have that to be able to repair. Yeah.
Yeah. And what color are you painting the boat?
This particular part we're doing is cloud white at the
Snow white.
transom. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
But we have painted Snow White Alexil,
Uh-huh.
and what's the other one we painted?
Dark white.
Dark white as
Yeah.
well. So we got a really good idea of all the different types.
Yeah. You cannot really go wrong with Alexseal. I mean, even if it doesn't flow out the way that you want, Alexseal, you could always buff it. You could sand
Yeah,
it
that's
with,
something I'm interested to know. Yeah.
yeah, 1500 grit sandpaper, 2000 grit sandpaper, and you could buff it and it shines like gel coat.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
and
That's
in your
yeah.
case, you already have free coats on. So the more the merrier. If you got free coats on and you choose to go to four coat, it's all good. Nothing's wrong with that.
That's important. That's the question I really had for you too, especially when we get a final surface we're happy with. Like what would be the next step to, I've read there's some good technical guides by Alexseal they've got out, but just get some of the pros tips on how to actually do a wax and finish it. So it's,
Yeah.
that's the final step because I understand it takes quite a while to really fully cure. I
Mhm.
think I read like nearly 2 weeks where it actually chemically fully cures. So we just wondered when do you do your final surface treatment after all the painting's finished and what you do and how you do it.
Just some wax the surface. I mean,
Yeah.
Alexi like you to use their wax, but I don't think it really matters whatever wax you put on the surface. It's gonna protect the surface anyway, if it's a marine
Okay.
wax. But Alexi just would recommend their wax. Um, it doesn't really matter, but yeah, you could wax the surface after 2 weeks, and every so often it's a transom, so you could do it every so often, put some wax on the surface, and that will protect it.
Yeah. But far less maintenance than gel coat where you really got to cut like the rest of our boat is gel coat and we'll eventually be painting all of the boat. But
Mhm.
there's a fair bit of maintenance in the cutting and the various stages of compounding through to waxing of it. We're looking for less maintenance with all the other equipment and things we have to maintain and do, and when we can have our time where we can do more enjoying of cruising, you know what I mean? Rather than
Like smarter, not harder.
working smarter, not harder. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I'm
But
kind of I'm kind of pushing that motto of working smarter, not harder. And in
Yeah.
true.
general, it just means that a lot of things I used to do in the past, I have changed. Um, in the past, I used to paint an entire boat with one ladder. So you do 1 foot to 3, 4 feet at a time.
Yeah.
You move that ladder, you move that ladder. We're in 2024. We don't do that anymore, you
Yeah.
know. Hold on 1 second. I'm seeing, where's my mouse? Okay. Work, happy, Zoom. What is it saying there? Running out of time? What that is? Just close it to the top. Okay. All right. Okay, that's all right.
I think we I think one thing we should share with you, we haven't been gone into the detail, but yeah, we've done all of our works ourselves on the boats. Like we've used naval architects and other technical experts, but we've done a lot of really difficult and long, hard processes really as well we could. And then we got to painting and thought this should be a little bit easier. But yeah, we to get that proper final surface and to do all the fairing really well of complex curves and to get the priming, to get that service, really come to appreciate that there's
Yeah.
a lot of work in it to do it well. And then to have access to someone like you with your 25 years of experience is just awesome because we realize that we're probably doing things to the most we can, the best we can, but we're just probably spending so much time on things that we could do better or quicker, or you know what I mean. And then when you've done it all, you want to be able to do a good surface with the top coat. So any great, expert tips from you is just super valuable because it's just you keep going around in circles and keep having to go try again, and it comes out with orange peel and sand it all back and do all the steps to get it back again. So yeah, thank you, Kenny.
Well, I'm glad that my video has helped you, and
It has
thanks
a
for
lot.
reaching out. And I'm just glad to be able to be part of it.
Yeah, we're
Uh,
very thankful. Thank you.
and I'm happy that working smarter and not harder is not just for Kenny's yacht maintenance. It's spreading. It's spreading towards
Oh
the
yeah.
world,
Spreading the news.
all the
Yeah.
way to Australia.
Yeah, yeah. But we want to kind of get the boat seaworthy and have, comfort and good equipment, but you really, it really is a balance of how much time you can spend on that and how much life you've got left to actually then go and enjoy it all and go to all these places. Like we'd love to come and, come where you are and to, enjoy the experience rather than always trying
Yeah.
to fix things that and do work. So yeah, it's important, so important.
So,
Mm.
where you sailing off to after you lift anchor?
Do is we're going to go down the coast of Australia where I grew up in a place called Port Stephens, which is beautiful, and Newcastle and Sydney. And then we want to go east, probably all the way to Fiji, and then we want to go north up through Micronesia and eventually up to Japan
Oh, wow, wow, wow.
at this stage. Yeah. And then we might head over
Cross over to,
to
yeah,
North America
North America
from
Right.
there.
from
Well,
Yeah.
if you ever make it to the Caribbean, I'm in St.
there.
Thomas, USVI.
Yeah, it's a great place, and we already talked about that since we made contact with you. We're like, wow, wouldn't it be great if we could actually go and visit you and yeah, drop anchor near there? Be fantastic.
Well,
We
yeah,
might
well,
need a job by then.
Yeah, it would be a good time to do the whole boat.
yeah, definitely. Well,
So we,
I'm glad to be part of it, and feel free to reach out to me if you ever get a little confused with all the directions and stuff to do.
okay.
Feel free to reach out to me, whether it's WhatsApp and or email. And please send me an update, pictures of the
Yeah, we'll
fish.
send you some updates. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I will be after I receive some pictures from you. I will post this video.
Okay. Yeah. Could we do some stuff where we could show how we're rolling and
Yes, that's
get
good.
them at, yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Keep it short. Yeah, short clips.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
We'll do
We'll
that
do
then.
that. We'll send them through after. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that today. We'll roll. Okay. There's another
What
email
time
to
is it?
me.
What time is it in Australia?
So right now it's 10 past 10, so we're ready to go. The paint's
Okay.
mixed up and ready to
So
roll
it,
on.
Yeah.
so it's 8:15 in St. PM in St. Thomas right now.
Righto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, thank you for, opening up your evening to us. I appreciate that very
All right,
much.
it was
Okay.
kind of short notice and I wasn't all
Yeah.
prepared, but
That's a
we did it. We did it.
righto. Well, we'll do some videos and send it to you and see what we're going wrong. I think rolling technique is one of the most important things we could learn from you. The
Yeah,
other tips.
just bear in mind your pressure. Just know how much pressure to apply. So
Or how much?
how much pressure to apply on the roller,
Yeah.
because you fill the roller with paint and then you
Right.
apply in on the hull. So you're the one in control of how much pressure and how much paint you put in on the hull. So after you apply, then you kind of lighten up your hand and just smooth it out.
Right.
So
Okay. So yeah,
you put a little more pressure to apply the paint and to get coverage.
right.
And
Okay.
after you get coverage, you lighten up your hand, a little less pressure, and you just
Right.
roll it and take off the bubbles and just leave it. And
Okay.
just in case you see a heavy area or sagging area or a run, you just lightly go over it with very little
Okay.
pressure on the roller. Because bear
Okay.
in mind, it's not a flat surface. If it's a flat
Mm.
surface, like a table, it will level out itself. But
Mm.
because it's a vertical surface, you have to, if there's any heavy areas or run area, before that kicks, you want to be the one to take that out and level it out.
Mm.
Okay. All right.
A
So
little
that's
less,
good to know.
a little less pressure, just a little less pressure. So as
All
you
right.
go along, you will feel how much pressure, a little more pressure to apply the paint and to get coverage, a little less
Right.
pressure just to even it out and to get it to flow.
Okay. All right. So that first roll, I've noticed if you were going on this transom from top to bottom, you would start at the top and just roll all the way down and then roll
Yes,
back at that same spot upwards. And then you
yes.
move on,
And
move on to
and
the next spot.
there are times like all the way up to your toe rail. There are times
Yep.
you can go across, but you finish with the up and down motion. So if
Right.
you want to get coverage all the way, you could go across, But finishing, you want to go up and down because paint
Okay.
runs down. Paint runs down. So
Yeah.
try not to finish by going across because that's where it's going to run. Try to finish by going up and down.
Yeah, we've been going up and down only because there's
Yes.
a big chain
Up
plate
and
that goes down the middle, so it's hard to keep a wet edge going across. So we have
yes.
started on one side and gone down and across. So yeah,
Yes. Up and
okay.
down, and you get to
Right.
it, and as you go along, you're gonna see it flashing. It's gonna flash. All the bubbles gonna disappear, and it's gonna
Right.
just flash like it was sprayed.
Okay. So how many roller widths back do you go where you just like let the roller weight only to go over lightly? Like you don't want to go back too far, right? Because it starts to flash off and you've missed the window of
Good
opportunity to do
question.
that.
Good
Yeah.
question. I mean, I would probably do like a two roller weave up and
Right.
down, and you always try for a transom, you go all the way down to your end surface, from up
Right.
all the way down.
Okay.
So I would imagine you're doing what, 4 or 5 feet area in width from up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you go,
About 5.
yeah, all the way down. So, and you could do 2 or 3 roller width
Right.
and then just come back lightly. Just come
Right.
back lightly and just even it out, even it up. And then you keep your wet edge. You got to keep going. There's no
Mm.
stopping there. Just keep your wet edge and keep
Right.
going. You do a little free 2 or 3 roller all the way from top to bottom. And
Okay.
then just come back and even it out, smooth it out, smooth it out, smooth it out, and keep going.
I'll try and describe this, Kenny. So let's say you've done your first 3 roller widths
Yeah,
along the transom and you've come back light. So now you're going to start again. Do you start again right next to that first one, like overlap it? Or do you stand off a roller width further along and then come back and fill it in between?
that's another good question. I like to, let me see if I get a little demonstration here. I'm gonna use this can as a demonstration. So let's say I'm all the way here and
Right.
all that is wet paint. When I dip the roller, I always like to go a little ahead and then work
And
my way back into the wet
Back.
paint. Because you're right, if you start right where you stop, you're gonna have a heavy area. So I like to get the fresh paint off a little further, one roller length away.
How's that? How's the coverage? How is that spot?
From Massachusetts Institute of Technology, I am the proud product of Kenny's Yacht Maintenance, where we are in the business of working smarter, not harder. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Kenny's Yacht Maintenance, working smarter, not harder.